excited to introduce you to today's guest. This is somebody that I've really had a chance to get to know better over the past year, and it's somebody that I never would have known without this business that I'm currently in. She is a fellow masterminder in our group that we have, and she's just all around creative. She's a great person to bounce ideas off of one another, and I'm so excited for you to see this interview with none other than the lovely Randi Norton. So a little bit about her. Randi started in this industry to have something for herself. She's a stay-at-home mom with two little ones, and now she's running $1 million business helping other moms find themselves and grow their future. She's helping show their kids that they can do more outside of the normal box society has put us in. So without further ado, I am so very excited to introduce you to the lovely Randi Norton. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hot Mess and Blessed. My name is Melissa Hartman, and I am the host of this amazing, incredible, stupendous podcast. And I am so excited because I'm staring at a beautiful human. You just heard her introduction. So as you already know, she's incredible. But I'm so excited to share her with you because she's truly been not only a great business partner to have, even though we don't make a dime off of one another, but just somebody that I've been truly grateful to have in my circle this past year, I'd say year or so. And so I'm so excited to welcome you and introduce you all to my friend, Miss Randi Norton. Welcome, girl.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, of course. I'm so excited you're here. I know that we have a lot of stuff, not only in our life, but business and all that we relate to. So I'm really excited for people to get to know you and to hear more about you. So I would love for you to just kind of share a little bit of your backstory. You know, I know that maybe life hasn't always been perfect for you, but maybe to share some of that backstory on where you were and where you are now.
Okay, so I don't know how much of this you know. I will just give a quick way back to high school where I never knew what I wanted to be. I didn't want to go to college. There was no way I was going to college. I wanted to be my own boss, and I knew I wanted to be a mom. Those were the only two things that I knew for sure. Didn't know what I wanted to do though, to be the boss or to work for myself. Fast forward a few years of just doing random jobs. I've always been in customer service, waitressing, dealing with people, I don't know, retail, banking, all that stuff. But when I had my kids, I was not going to work outside the house. It was non-negotiable. I was staying home with my kids because not only did I want to be with my kids, but I couldn't afford daycare.
Yes. It's not cheap, is it?
No, we did the math, and me working, I would bring home maybe $50 of my paycheck after paying for daycare, and that was with one kid. It didn't make any sense to us. So we figured out a way, and by we figuring out a way, just I find things to do. I would resell the baby clothes. I would paint furniture, flip it, and sell it. There was so many random things I would always do to make money so that we had a little bit of extra. And by extra, I meant going to McDonald's. But So anyways, 2 kids later, super stir crazy, needing people. And I fell into Party Plan, which sounded like a great idea. I'd get out, see adults, all this stuff. But parties weren't for me. I was missing bedtime and having 2 little ones. There were 2 under 3 at that point when I started Party Plan, and I was missing bedtime. I was missing the days that my husband was home. He wasn't home a lot because he was still working 2 jobs, 3 depending on the season. And so then I fell into MLM, network marketing, basically online stuff. And that has been super helpful because I'm home with the kids. I'm so much more flexibility. that's how I got here.
And, I relate to so much of your story, coming from Party Plan as well. It was so hard to have those nights where you're like, oh yeah, I'm out of the house. But then you're spending a half an hour driving to a party that you're not sure how many people are even going to be at. You're not sure if you're going to make any money at that party. And then you're driving home and you're like, oh, look at that. It's 9:30. There's no way my kids are already, there's no way my kids are awake already or awake still. And gosh, that's so tough. So what is one of your favorite things about what we do now?
One of my favorite things, getting the stories back from people. And I never thought that was going to be one of my favorite things, but getting those stories where you've changed somebody's life or you've just made their day easier or better, or just being able to inspire people to stay with it, that has been really cool.
Oh, I love that. And I'm thinking like of a few people that are in your organization right now. Like one of the girls ran she emceed an entire event. Another one is now working strictly from home, if I'm correct, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, that's so amazing. So I love that. That makes my heart so happy. So I would love to know, because being a parent, we wear many hats, right? It's not just solely 110% focus on business. How do you kind of juggle that? Being a mom, being a wife, you have pets, you have children, you have a husband let's face it, they're all children. Are they not? How do you juggle all of that?
I don't look for perfection. That has been, and that's really hard for me to say because I come from I want everything to be where it's at, how it's supposed to be. And I've had to let that go. So I still get really excited when everything is perfect and pretty. And I still try to, but I just know it's not always going to work. I know there's such thing as balance. One of my biggest things that I do, and now I'm doing it even more with the kids home all the time, we have time blocks, but they flow. That depends on what my kids are doing. Sometimes they're not going to be quiet. They're 5 and 7. They're going to go stir crazy. So those times I can't focus completely on my business, but I can clean a house and run my kids like nothing. Like that's easy to do. So
Right.
we do that during those times. And then when they're silent and focused, that's when I get on the computer or my phone and pound out whatever I can do for that 10 minutes. So that's been my huge thing.
I love that. And I think having that flexibility of flow is really important, especially as a parent, because we don't know, like I have my daughter in the room right next door and I'm like, is she going to stay quiet while we're recording this? Should I have my headphones on? But I love that. I think it's important as long as you know what you need to do in those pockets where you have the 10 minutes. Do you have a certain like system for that per se, or you just kind of already know these are the tasks I need to do each day? This is how we do it. This is how it. Okay, not one of those singing podcasts. Is that a thing?
No, not with me. I have a to-do list in my phone. Oh. It is just in the notepad of my iPhone. You can put little dots on there so you feel special when you check them off. And I used to try to write a list, but the list would stay in the kitchen and I'd be in the living room, I'd be outside my house, and those tasks that I have to do that day weren't with me, so I wouldn't do them. But my phone's always with me. So now I can go in and be like, oh my God, I have 10 minutes. What can I check off? Mm-hmm. And that list, some of it stays the same every day, but I add things for different days. When you wake up, you know what you have to do.
Okay, that was actually going to be my next question. So I'm glad you clarified. We know our list doesn't need to stay the same every day. So do you have like Monday I'm creating content, Tuesday I'm doing this, or is it pretty flowy all over.
So I did for a while have that, but right now with the kids being home, the last 2 weeks the kids have been home full time, and they're home right now and for another 2-3 weeks possibly.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have the structure that I had. But in the perfect world, before when my kids were in school full day, I did have a structure where one day I would focus on my blog. One day I would focus on a podcast. One day I'd be focusing on making pins for Pinterest. There's different things that I did focus more on certain days, and I would pick that at the beginning of the week when I made my schedule.
I love that. So you mentioned you have this blog, you have Pinterest. What is your favorite thing that you're currently working on? Like, is there one where you're like, oh my gosh, I absolutely love doing this?
This is gonna sound so silly. I love creating pretty things. So when I get in the flow and I can really focus, I do love working on the blog. I do love sitting there and formatting it and making it pretty. I love putting new pins together because I can make them pretty. I just like to create nice things to put out into the world. So, and the one thing that does get me really excited right now is doing a blog or a podcast or finding some content that I've put out there and creating it into a pin to create a new flow for emails and stuff like that.
That's so awesome. I love how, and it's all like connected somehow. And I'm going to be honest, you guys, if you haven't checked out her Instagram stories or anything like that, we'll ask where they can find you later on. But your stories are always so gorgeous. I'm always like, how does she even create this? And we had a training where she gave us like a ton of her tips and tricks, and I learned so much through that. But they are, I mean, it truly is awesome. And I love seeing your face light up. Like for those of you who watch this on YouTube, you could see like your face just light up. And like, I love that you love making the world a more beautiful place just in that way alone is so awesome. So it's really cool to see that. I love it. I love it. I love it. So for those of you who don't know, Randi is actually one of our members of the mastermind that we currently started. What do you think? Like, a month and a half, 2 months ago?
Yeah, February?
Yeah, something like that. What do you think of that? Because we had Hillary on the podcast and she kind of gave her perspective, but I would love to hear just what you thought of it so far.
I love being able to have a safe place with people that I trust and I look up to, and I just love being able to bounce those ideas off of it, and knowing that we all have different things that we bring to it has been really cool.
Yeah.
The other thing I really love about our mastermind is how we know that we want to have a life outside of our business.
Mm.
So creating that safe spot where we are plugged in, but we're also making it so that our business can work on its own while we are away doing our family time or having fun and self-care and all that stuff.
Yeah, you're so right. I love that. And it's so cool because like half of us have kids and then the other half they don't, but they still value that time away from their business. And I love that we are giving ourselves the opportunity to live a life of more freedom. You know, I think a lot of people get in that mindset that, you know, being in a community-based marketing or MLM, whatever you want to call it, it ties you down, you know, like you have to be hustle 100% of the time. But I love that we go hard when we can on creating content, but we also understand like, hey, our family also needs us to be present. You know, I love seeing like you did that rainbow thing in your window with your kids and the swing set thing. Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. Speaking of the swing set thing, can you share, because I truly think you're a master at this. I don't even know if you know that you're a master at this, but you share things in such a beautiful way. Like you just had this incredible story on Instagram yesterday, and you are so good at sharing those wins that make you pull, like you're pulling at people's heartstrings. So can you maybe give us some tips on how you do that? I'd love for you to maybe just give an example, because I truly think you're relating to so many more people than somebody who has a brand new BMW in their driveway, or is whatever, like, going on 17 vacations a year. Can you give maybe some examples and how, like, teach us how to do that?
Um, okay, so this is a little outside most people's box when you think about this. I don't go into brag. I never go into brag. Actually, if I do brag, it feels really icky to me, and other people are like, "It's okay, you're allowed to say that," and I'm like, no, a little weird. I want to go in, and this is where it sounds a little weird. I need to make people feel it. So I need to go into their heart and know what's going to touch their heart. And if it kind of makes me uncomfortable and it makes me a little teary-eyed to think about it, I know that it's going to hit somebody else harder because their hearts are probably a lot softer than mine. And so I go in and I notice the little things. And you can go back and look at pictures and realize those little things that have changed that you take for granted right now, but somebody else is looking for that. So a lot of the times I talk to me 5 years ago.
I love that.
Instead of just stating something, I am talking to the old me because I know that's the person that needs the help.
Oh my gosh, I just got chills. And that, you know what, I've noticed anytime I post something and it's like written to myself, like, hey, here's your reminder. Hey, look at how far you've come. Hey, look at this. That's whenever I have the most engagement. That's when people are like, oh my gosh, thank you for sharing that. I feel the same. Like, that's how I am right now. And I think you're just building such a stronger connection to those people. So thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. I love that. Do you have anything to add on that at all?
Make sure look back at your childhood too.
Okay.
Because this is something that popped up for me that I haven't shared yet, but I'll share with you guys. We're driving the other day and my kids were looking for the rainbows in the windows, and they looked up and he goes, yeah, look, they even got them in the hotel windows. And I looked around, there's no hotel. I'm like, baby, that's an apartment. And he's like, oh, well, it's like the same thing. I'm like, nah, not really. My kids don't know. What hit me hard there is my kids don't know what an apartment is. I, at their age, had lived in, I don't even know how many apartments at that point. So that was a huge win on my part, being able to show my kids a different life than what I had.
Oh my gosh. You're hitting me in all the feels, girl. My eyes are watery right now. Stop it. I have never cried on a podcast, dang it. It's not happening today. I'm just kidding. That's awesome. And you know what? It's so funny because I relate to you so much with that. That was my whole purpose for starting in this side hustle, or whatever you want to call it, is because I wanted to give my daughter a better life than what I had growing up. And I just love to see women that are doing the same exact thing. So you're amazing, in case no one's told you today. I love you.
I love you.
All right. So let's go on before I start crying.
Okay.
I know we talked about this at one point in time. You had kind of mentioned you have these, I guess you could consider them like steps to success. And you had mentioned, do these things, or you have to have these things in your life if you want to be successful. So I would love to know, maybe if you can kind of spill the tea a little bit on that, what maybe some of those are and how you've implemented them in your life.
Okay. So obviously we've been doing this a couple of years now, and you can start to look back and see who's making it, who's not making it. And you start realizing there are certain keys that they were missing. This is relatable in business, in making lifestyle changes, anything, like even just to get your life on track as a mom with your kids. One of the big ones was having the right mindset. And maybe you don't start with that mindset, but you're willing to work on changing that mindset and growing it and turning it into a growth mindset. So it's just doing that inner deep work. And I will, just a huge tip there, it's not just reading and listening to podcasts, it's actually implementing what you've heard and read.
That's powerful.
Well, I see so many people say they're doing it and they're not changing. So that's like a huge thing that they need to know. The other one is having a routine, but not necessarily like the routine that you think, like a huge hour by hour set schedule every single day.
Okay.
Wake up and have that morning routine. I know you have a morning routine and like you are successful. Like I look up to you because you do have that amazing routine and I love that. And that routine is literally just, if you can't get up an hour before your kids, just get up 5 minutes before your kids. Just have a little routine and work into a bigger one. I'm just using morning routine because that has been the huge thing that has made my life different. And then another big one is having your health on track. So I don't care what kind of diet you're doing, but if you're eating crap, you feel like crap, and that goes into your mindset, that will go into your routine. But if you're eating a semi-healthy food and drinking your water and moving your body and doing all those things, it creates the rest of the circle.
You're so right. Because I know, like, especially with all of us being trapped at home right now, this is Corona time for those of you who maybe are listening to this at a later date. I know that we were talking to people in our mastermind, and one of the girls said, people are eating junk food and drinking alcohol. It's like at an all-time high, and that just continues that vicious cycle, So everybody take a swig of your water right now. We all got water nearby. Take a swig of your water, eat the green stuff, I love that. Is there anything else that we should know to keep in that step for success going?
Don't be afraid to use tools to help you.
Okay, like what?
Like your mindset. If you need a tool to have somebody keep you accountable, like writing in your journal, or just somebody to bounce those ideas off of. The routine. If you need to have a schedule, that's okay. Don't let anybody tell you differently. With your food and your health, if you need supplements or you need some daily accountability, that's okay. You do what works for you, and baby steps are way better than not doing it at all.
Absolutely. I agree 100% with you. So I don't want to take up too much of your time because I do value your time. But I guess one final question that I have for you is, what would be something that you recommend to people to do if they're living that hot mess life, and they want to go from being a hot mess to living a life full of blessings? What would be just one tip that you'd have for somebody who really wants to start making that change?
It's kind of two-part. Slow down. It's okay to slow down. And when you slow down, look at everything around you. Be grateful for it and write down all the things you're grateful for. The only reason I'm saying this is because when you can start to see what you're grateful for and appreciate what you have, it changes the way you're looking at everything else and the way you're going to approach everything else. It helps you go from that screaming hot mess mom to maybe you are able to calm yourself before you start screaming at your kids.
Yep.
It's those little things. And can I say one more thing?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I'm writing all this down.
Find the people that you can relate to, but that are on a level above you.
I love that. And why do we want to do that?
Because if you keep surrounding yourself with the same circle of people that are negative and possibly bringing you down, you can still love them, but you can't absorb all of their stuff anymore. You need to find somebody else that you want to look up to and move into the kind of life that they have. Or maybe it's not even the life they have, but it's the life they're aiming for and they're working towards. So it doesn't even have to be somebody that's like way above you. It could be somebody that's like right here and you're right here, but it's just a little bit.
And do those have to be people you know, like actually know? Like I can go over to Susie's house tomorrow and, well, maybe not tomorrow because we're, social distancing, but
Nope, you don't need to know them. There's podcasts, there's books. I made a new friend in a book, and then I found her on a podcast, and now I stalk her Instagram. Not stalk, but I watch.
we all stalk. Let's be real. I love that. And my husband actually said something. So it's really funny that you use those words slow down. He said, I don't know if he was reading something, but he said, you have to slow down to speed up sometimes. And I was like, dang, okay, you're getting wise here over here, Mr. Hartman. But I love that. I think the gratitude part of it is so important. And then finding people that you can relate to. Oh, gosh, you're so dang good, Randi. Thank you so much. Any final words of wisdom that you might have for anyone?
You put me on the spot.
I totally
Might have taken all my stuff. Drink your water. Just that's my big thing lately is drinking water.
I swear, it changes the world.
It does.
Awesome. Well, Randi, thank you so much for this. You're amazing. I adore you. Can you tell people where they can find you?
Okay. So you can find me on Instagram at Hey Randi Lee. And I have, the blog this is new, obviously. The blog is at heyrandilee.com. And through that, you can find me everywhere. So I'm on Facebook and Instagram. Don't follow me on TikTok because that's a hot mess.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for this. I truly appreciate your time. And it's always good to see your face. I get to see your face again tomorrow in the mastermind. So thanks again, girl.
Thank you. I appreciate you.